welcome. Let me maybe give a quick overview and then you jump in, right? So welcome everyone. So Ashley, Carolina, and Fuota, right? Hopefully I pronounce it right. Thank you for coming. Very excited to have all of you here. We're expecting about 10 people plus, so maybe folks will be late joining us, but maybe a few people to join. So we have almost maybe 2 to 2.5 hours of materials that we'll be sharing, and it's going to be exciting stuff. We have a team of 3 of us. Nancy and Jamal have put in a lot of time to prepare these great materials, and so we're very excited to share with you and also get feedback. We'll start this with overall remarks from Ada. As you know, the African Studies Center is sponsoring this, and so they do have a bigger vision for all of this, and so she'll provide some remarks, and then we'll jump in and do some introductions and take it from there. Sounds good? Okay.
Sounds good.
So Ada.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Ada Umiwaliri, and I am the Associate Director of the African Studies Center. I'm joining this call in my car. My oldest daughter is playing a volleyball tournament, so I had to sneak out to come offer introductory remarks and kind of just share with you all how we came about the concept for this workshop and the long-term vision. Part of what our role is within the university is to expand the knowledge and information about the continent of Africa through different ways. One is offering language area studies support through, supporting faculty development, research, salaries, and then cultural experiences through community work that we do with our community in Chapel Hill and beyond. So for Ghana specifically, we Shudanshu Ashu, who's on this call, played a significant Shudanshu Ashu Handa, Dr. Handa, played a significant role in bringing this vision to light. As we wrote what we call our Title VI grant, we decided to expand what the center does and support the university's work in Ghana. And we wrote it into a grant because the university currently does a lot of work in East and Southern Africa and is kind of currently building its work and presence in West Africa. So this is a first step to seeing what the opportunities are with developing more specific area studies content with regards to Africa and Ghana specifically, and then test running the interest in the language tree. Currently at UNC, we offer Swahili, which you can take in during the academic year. We offer Wolof and Yoruba. These are the current 3 languages that we offer, and we're trying to build a test run tree and see what the demand is, and see if it becomes part of the academic year offering, or if we continue to offer it in the summer format, just like we also do for Chichewa language for people who are interested in research and interested in some cultural knowledge, gaining some cultural knowledge, or who are going over to Ghana to do some work. So we're hoping that this workshop, which we offer just before the end of the spring semester, prepares them to go do the work that they're going to do in Ghana or even West Africa, so they have some basic understanding of the social cultural context and some basic understanding of the language. So thank you for joining us, and I'm going to hand over the session to our facilitators.
Well, thank you, Ada, and you drop off at some point. Have a wonderful day. All the best. So welcome. I think Fred joined, Hillary also joined, right? So more folks are trooping in, and hopefully we get up to maybe 10. But if not, this is still a fun group. We have a plan. Let me show just very briefly what the plan for the day is. I'm going to share my screen. So we will, hopefully you can see the agenda, right? This is our agenda, but we want to make sure we're catering to what is most interest to you, what would be most helpful. And so, yes, we do have this plan, but we'll be open to making changes if necessary. But we'll do some quick round of introductions. And during the introduction, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your connection to Ghana, maybe you're just interested in Ghana, or you've been to Ghana, you have colleagues, or you intend to do some work in Ghana, whatever the reason is for taking this course or workshop, that will be helpful to know. So that will help us connect what we'll be talking about to your interest. And then we'll go into the first session, which is mostly about the history and the culture, and a little bit about the current life in Ghana. It will be hopefully interactive enough. Nancy will have some slide deck to go through, very fascinating information, and also pictures and just some visuals that I think you'll love. But at that point, we'll welcome your questions and even experiences. If you've been to the continent or you've heard about some things that you'd like to get clarification on, feel free to interject and offer some examples or ask questions as she presents. Then we'll take a break, about 20-minute break. Depending on how it goes, we might end up shrinking it or even expanding the break to make sure it works for the group. And then we will come back for the second part. We will go through some basic tree lessons. This will be basic enough to enable you memorize it and use it whenever you're in Ghana, or maybe you encounter Ghanaian here in the US. So Jamal will lead that piece. We'll chime in. And then we'll try and wrap up with some opportunity to get feedback from you. As you heard from Ada, this is the first time we're offering this workshop, and we'll love to build on it as we keep going. So we'll create some room for us to get feedback. We'll talk a little bit about our next steps, and then we'll call it a day. Again, this is scheduled for 3 hours, but I will probably not use all the 3 hours. A few things, logistics. We do have a Canvas website for this course. We thought it would be good to have that, and we can share materials through that. If you haven't seen that yet, at some point, we can probably show you where the materials would be. Like I said, this is the first time we're offering this, so we put in a lot of materials. Some are ready, some are not. We just want to continue to build on our materials after the session. So we do have manuals, I think a 90-page manual that we've put together. After the session, based on the feedback, we'll go back and tighten things a little bit and then make it available to you. This would be a manual that you can have it in handy, almost like a reference material that you could always reference. And we'll cover these two main sessions or topics that we'll be covering today. So be rest assured. And we'll also make available our PowerPoint slides after the workshop. But that's the plan for the day. Any questions, any suggestions before we dive into the introductions? We good? Okay. And again, feel free to chime in with questions, anything you want to share. So I'll start with the introduction, and then Nancy, who is a co-instructor, and then Jamal, also a co-instructor, will introduce themselves, and then we'll go around and introduce everyone. So I'm David Alston with the School of Social Work. I've been at UNC for, I think, 11 years now. So I'm currently an associate professor. But I'm a Ghanaian. I lived in Ghana throughout my master's degree. So I came to do my master's at Washington University in St. Louis and continued to do my PhD there. And I came to UNC 2013. But all my family is back in Ghana. I do go back a lot. About 40 to 50% of my projects are in Ghana. So I do go back at least once a year. Depending on the stage of the project, I do go several times. And so I'm quite rooted to the continent. We do have other projects across the continent, but Ghana being my home country, I love to go there. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me. I will turn to Nancy.
Hi everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is Nancy. Like David said, I'm a PhD student with the Department of History. Currently trying to finish my comprehensive exams. Born and raised in Ghana. This is my third year in the US. I'm still figuring out a lot of things, still a lot of cultural shocks going on here and there. But I am passionate about sharing a lot about Ghana, taking you through the journey of getting to interact with the culture and the people, although it's via Zoom, but I hope it's as realistic as possible to give you a better understanding of the people, their culture, diversity, and hopefully it should encourage you, if you don't have plans yet to go visit Ghana, encourage you to go to Ghana in the future. Thank you for being here.
Great, thank you. Jamal.
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Jamal Apiakubi, and I am excited to be here because I get to share a bit of my culture. And as Nancy rightly said, hopefully this encourages you to go to Ghana, even beyond Ghana, to other African countries, experience the beautiful culture and heritage we have. So a bit about myself. I am also Ghanaian. I'm currently a postdoc working with David. And so up until 2017, I lived my entire life in Ghana. That's where I schooled. I learned the culture growing up, the language. Ghana has a multiplicity of languages, but the Tree or Akan is the dominant one for the most part. And I speak that. That's my tribe. And like yourselves, I have also come to USA, and as you guys are trying to learn a different culture, I'm also learning the American culture. I've been through the cultural immersion program or process because I had my PhD in Turkey and I had to learn a new language and learn culture. And so I've experienced how things might be different and strange at the beginning, but trust me, it gets more interesting as you get to understand certain petty things, little things about the language, and also start appreciating the culture. So I'm excited to be here, and I hope the 2 to 3 hours will be fun for all of us. Thank you.
Great, Nancy and Jamal, thank you. And please feel free to ask us more questions based on our experience living in Ghana. If you don't mind, we'll start with Ashu, since he's more experienced and had some experience in Ghana, so extensive experience in Ghana, and then we'll go around. So Ashu, when you're done, you can mention any other person's name, then introduce themselves.
Great, thank you, everyone. So I'm a faculty member. I'm a professor of in the Department of Public Policy, and I'm an economist. All my research is in Africa, and I have actually quite a few projects in Ghana right now. And really, I've been working kind of professionally in Ghana since maybe 2008. So going there quite a bit. My next trip there is actually going to be in end of May, I think. I was actually born in Ghana and kind of grew up there till the age of 14. My parents lived in Tema, and they worked for a big aluminum company there that was based in Tema. It was Kaiser Aluminum. So whereas I left Ghana as a kid, but I still support the Black Stars pretty strongly. That's the football team for those who don't know. And I, just feel like any kind of opportunity I get to connect with Ghana or to kind of connect in this way is something I try and take advantage of. So thank you all for hosting this and putting this on. So I'll pass this over now to maybe Fawata Mortu. Thank you.
Sure, thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Fawota, and I'm a PhD student of first year in geography at UNC. And as for my connection to Ghana, so I was born in the US, but my family is from Ghana. Of away heritage though, so I understand and speak, but I'm looking to expand language skills, and have spent time there, especially more recently. I've spent a summer there, been visiting pretty frequently as of late, and plans to go back this summer. Good to meet you all.
Thank you. Maybe Carolina.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. So I'm Brazilian. I am English teacher here. I teach English to K5 students up to K12. And so my interest here is to learn more about Ghana, to show them a reality or other perspectives about Africa, because since 2003, we have a law here in the curriculum that became mandatory, the teaching of African and Afro-Brazilian aspects in the whole curriculum. So we are trying to learn more about Africa, to show them the real Africa, not the stereotypes about Africa. So that's why I'm here. Thank you one more time, and I hope we could learn with you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's really nice to hear all of that. You know, as Ida said, there are other workshops or sessions. There's one on Zambia, and I believe other many others. So certainly you can take advantage of those as well. But it's really a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. We'll turn to Fred. And then after Fred, Hilary, if you can go next.
Good morning. My name is Fred Joyner. I live here in Chapel Hill. I am interested in this workshop. I've been interested. I used to live in Washington, D.C., lived in D.C. for many years, over half my life. And while I was at school and at American University, came into contact with continental Africans from all over. And so I've been interested in African language and culture for a long time. I lived in Mali right before I moved to North Carolina. I lived in Bamako, Mali for 4 years, and got a chance to learn some Bambara, or Bamanakan, as the people there, as the Bamana call it, as Malians call it. They don't call it Bambara. And I've always been interested in African languages. And after living in Mali, I learned how important greeting is in West African culture. Not just West African, but West African is what I'm most familiar with. And so I'd like to, as a person who considers himself an African, just on this side of the Atlantic, I'm just interested in learning more about languages and culture. My introduction to Ghana and connection to Ghana was Adinkra symbols, honestly. The Adinkra in Washington, D.C., you see Adinkra everywhere, from fabrics that people wear to jewelry. I have these 2 rings that I wear that were made for me, that have I don't know how to pronounce them correctly, but maybe I'll learn that today. But the one that means the twisting, and the other one, I call it a call to arms or a call to loyalty, Akubin. But anyway, that's me. I'm a writer. I'm an IT guy for pay, and I'm a poet and writer for passion.
Great, thank you, Fred. We might disappoint you a little bit with the Adinkra symbols. I think we have just one in our slides. But great to hear about all your experiences. Thank you. Hilary, I think you're last, right? Yeah, so after Hilary, we'll turn to Nancy. I think you're muted, Hilary. You're muted. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really want to appreciate you for putting up something like this, and I'm happy to be a participant. I grew up in Ghana. I grew up in Nigeria. My dad is Nigerian. My mother is Ghanaian. So after they had a crash in their marriage, I moved with my mom to Ghana, where I grew up. And my mother had a job in the U.S., Texas, precisely where I'm staying. And so we moved to Texas. As a teen, I came here, and I when she was alive, I still used to visit Ghana often, maybe like call it once or twice, let's say once a year and all of that. But after she passed on, it's been a long while of not being together, you know. So when I saw this up, I really picked interest to learn more about my mother's land and the culture, the people, and everything. So I'm very, very happy to participate here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Hilary. So we do have quite a range of reasons and experiences for wanting to be part of this workshop, but then also there's a lot in common, right? I think the common interest in continent, getting to know the people a little bit more and a little bit about the language. Hopefully we're able to offer a little bit today to excite your interest enough to want to learn more. We do have on the, if you've had a chance to look at the Sakai site, you notice that we do have the syllabus. It has additional resources, and we'll talk about that more as we wrap up. And we do acknowledge that what we'll be covering today will then be enough to get you probably to the point that you desire. And so we'll point you to some additional resources that we found very helpful for ourselves and folks we engage with. And so we'll point you to that. If you've also used some resources that you think would be good for folks, like I said earlier, we still building this course, and so we'll love for you to share with us at some point. So there's just one person who joined. It's LG. I don't know if LG is ready to introduce. Okay, still. Whilst LG is joining, I think Nancy, you can maybe take over from here. Nancy will take us through the culture, the history, and contemporary life in Ghana. Again, feel free to stop us. Don't want this to be just a lecture. We want it to be didactic a little bit. So you can pause us to talk about it. If you see some pictures you're curious about, some information, feel free to access to stay on it and discuss a little bit. If you've had an experience with any of the things we'll be sharing, please feel free to share that experience with everyone. So Nancy, we can turn to you. I think at some point maybe others will join and we'll do another round of introductions. And please feel free to turn off your camera if you feel the need to. We will probably keep ours on, but don't feel the pressure to keep your camera on. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks to David and Jamal, and thanks to everyone for being here. As David said, feel free to chime in whenever you want or whenever you have contributions or questions. This is a pilot study, it's a workshop, and we all want to live here with remnants or live with something important about Ghana, its people, and especially on the Twi or Akan language. So this session, well, I'm Nancy again. This session is definitely going to take us through a cultural immersion, and it's going to help us understand the experience of Ghanaian people. We'll talk about the people, their culture, which includes their dance, music, their food, and everything you can think of. Unfortunately, because of time constraints, we can't really cover everything on Ghana. So there might be a little bit of disappointment if you have something in particular you wanted to look out for. However, just like what David said, there's going to be more information on the manual on Canvas. And if you can't access Canvas, just feel free to send an email to me and I would send you the documents. Also, this session has been recorded, so if you want to break out at any time and can't finish the whole session, it's fine. You can always have access to it at any point in time. So this is Ghana. I was born and raised in Ghana. My mom is from the north and my dad is from the south. And an interesting fun fact is my dad from the south is from Central Region, and Central Region have a matrilineal system of inheritance. In the north, which is where my mom comes from, particularly the Frafra, have a patrilineal system of inheritance. So when someone asks me, what are you? I'm like in the middle, because I do not really know where to go anymore. But that is the beauty of the diverse cultures and ethnicity in Ghana. You get to experience all of this different knowledges and different folklore, different languages precisely, and you get to enjoy all of them in the process. So these are just a few pictures I want us to look at. The first picture on my upper left is called the KGTR market. It's located in the Ashanti region. It's the biggest market in West Africa. However, I must know that the markets in Africa are vastly different from what you might find in the West. In the West, we have grocery stores, and that is one of the cultural shocks I had when I came here. My first time in Walmart, I was like, this is too much. What am I doing? Too much of everything here, But I hope you get a chance to visit the KGTR market when you get there. It's beautiful. It's modern. It's a modern infrastructure. The picture just next to it is the Jubilee House. It is the seat of parliament. It is also where the president resides. So when you get to Ghana, it's beautiful, although it's a security zone, but you get to see it. You're allowed to take a picture. There are no really restrictions with pictures on that. But then to access it, you need permission to do that. The picture beneath that is the Jamestown Lighthouse, located in Accra, the capital city of Ghana, where indigenous Ghans reside. However, we'll talk more about that later in the slides or in the presentation. It is a colonial remnant where it guided ships that were coming from the New World to the coast of Ghana. And finally, my favorite spot, the Zena Lodge, is located in the northern region of Ghana, and it's situated in the middle of the Molly Park. The Molly Park is a safari resort. You go there, relax, get to have safari rides, maybe be careful with the animals there. You don't want to get hit, but then you get a chance to see the beauty of nature and you get to involve yourself in all the beautiful things you've always been dreaming about. And I must say that Africa or Ghana isn't fraught with its challenges, but there's a lot of beauty to see there. So I just want us to take a few minutes to watch this video. It's compiled by the Africa Tourism Marketing Board. It's just a few tourist sites that have been put together for us to enjoy before we move on with the rest of the presentation.
Have you ever been to the center of the world? Then imagine a place far from home, where you are still seen as family, a peaceful country filled with affable people, decorated with stunning landscapes, world-class beaches and rainforest, also having rare wildlife in abundance. This is Ghana. It's among the top tourist destinations in sub-Saharan Africa, gradually becoming the end-of-year convergence point for tourists around the world. The country mesmerizes visitors from all walks of life, with some of the world's most historic forts, delectable cuisine, and unique festivals from its diverse cultures. Indeed, there is no dull moment when you visit Ghana. The country's ecotourism offering has seen expansion in recent years as some of its main ecotourism sites, Mole National Park, Kakum National Park, Wabim Firma Monkey Sanctuary, continue to garner tourist attention. Ghana achieved significant progress in developing ecotourism tourists as some of its main nature reserves. After introducing the highly successful Year of Return campaign in 2018, Ghana cemented its place as a top travel and investment destination for Africans in the diaspora. Tourist locations all over the country are steadily being improved to meet international standards as government now mandates sites to acquire specific licenses and certification in order to operate.
Do you also have audio? My audio is so oh you know okay. Well, we're at the tail end anyway.
Yeah, yeah, it's that.
Yeah, we lost the audio. Yeah.
You lost the audio?
At the tail end, so we got
Oh.
most of it.
Oh, okay. Sorry for that. Technology. My bad. So the geography of Ghana. Ghana has a varied terrain located in West Africa. It has a varied terrain of low plains and plateaus with hills, lots of hills, especially in the eastern part of the country. The climate is tropical. So if you are planning to go to Ghana, feel free to send clothes that would make you feel a little bit comfortable. It's not cold at all. We need a little bit of snow there. And it has two main seasons, the wet and the dry season. Often the dry season is between the November and March, while the wet season, which we call the raining season, is from April to October in most areas of the country. Ghana is bordered by three French-speaking countries, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, and Burkina Faso, as well as the Gulf of Guinea, which stretches on the coastline of the country. So if you look on the right, we see the picture of Ghana. This is not a necessarily the full representation of Ghana. However, it does show us the rivers and lakes and plateaus that are made up of Ghana's geography or landscape. Ghana is indeed blessed with a lot of natural resources. I'm sure every day we talk about Africa and how Africa is blessed with resources. In particular, we have gold, timber, diamond, bauxite. Quite recently, lithium was discovered. We have iron, fish, rubber, and hydropower. And the vegetation is natural. The natural vegetation ranges from the coast to the mangrove and swamp. And then we have the rainforest, which is mostly in the middle to coastal part of the country. And the inland is mostly dry. So that is where we get some of the swamps and mangroves, especially getting to the northern part of the country. So some fun facts about Ghana. If you didn't know, Ghana is the 8th largest country of the 16 countries in West Africa. It has a population, quite recently, a population of about 32 million. And it is the second populous country in West Africa. That is after Nigeria, which is about 200 million. So I don't really know why there's a tiff and war between Ghana and Nigeria. If you hear of these debates online and how they fight about jollof, I think we'll talk about that later in the conversation. In terms of physical size, it is indeed comparable to the United Kingdom. And in the US, it's like the state of Oregon, or maybe a little bit closer to the state of Oregon. And as I said earlier, Accra is the capital of Ghana, with a population of over 6 million people. Although Accra is the seat of parliament, it is an urbanized area, and it is where a lot of the population, most of the population live in. It is because most of the town centers and administrative infrastructures are located in that region. So the population and demographics. Because of the vibrant tapestry of Ghanaian culture and how it is interwoven, Ghana has over 100 ethnic groups. And although this presentation isn't going to capture all of them, we're going to do well to talk about the major ones. So we have the Akan and the Moli Dagwani, which are 47.3%, and 16.6% respectively. We have the Ewe, the Dangwe, and the Gama. These are all people that live in major parts of the country. And when it comes to religion, about 71.2% are Christians or follow Christianity. Islam follows suit, and 17.6%, and other religions, which could be African traditional religion or any other thing you believe in, which is 11.2%. It is worthy to note that although there's a lot of diversity in these religious groups, Ghanaians live together harmoniously, especially should be there when you see during festive seasons how they share laughter and share pleasantries and even sometimes gifts. So sometimes it's even difficult to see the differences in religions when you get to Ghana. And as I said earlier, most of the people live in urban centers that are dotted around the southern half of the country. And fun fact is, this happens because during the colonial era, especially the British colonial era, the British lived along the coast from Cape Coast and moved to Accra, and that is where they did build most of the infrastructure. So when you go inland, northern region and northern, upper east, and upper west region are fraught with an infrastructure deficit because of colonialism. But however, Ghana is working to change that. Ghana is, I think, 67. Yes. And on the 6th of March, Ghana was 67. So there's been a lot of changes and development that has taken place there. The population pyramid. Here's a population pyramid that tells us that Ghana has a very young population. When you look at from the ages of 35 to 39, we have about 3.4% for male and 3.4% for female. So as a population, the age ranges go up, then it reduces. So this means that with a young population, there has to be a lot going on. There has to be education, opportunities for health, opportunities for work for Ghanaian youth to be able to survive. And this also means that the population that is reliant on the younger population aren't that much. So which is a good thing. It's a positive pyramid and positive demographics, unlike other countries that we see a decline in the younger population. Ghana's culture is unique and diverse. The tapestry of Ghana's culture is interwoven, as we can see in the pictures there. Young kids representing different ethnic groups. I'm sure we're all familiar with the Kente, but then today we are going to introduce you to the Fugu. Often the Kente is associated with the South, the Ashanti, and the Fugu is associated with the North. We see the beads on the neck of the kids. These are beads that maybe we would have another class how to make beads. It's a beautiful process making beads. The ahenema are the slippers the kids are wearing, and it's often for royals. We also see kids that are in formal education. This is particularly the Presbyterian school, missionary schools that were built during the colonial time, but it still lives on, and parts of Ghanaian kids or children still get a chance to attend those schools. We have a picture of the Archbishop of the Catholic Church, Reverend Palmer Buckle, and the Imam, the chief Imam, that is the Islamic sect, the leader of the Islamic sect, together and shaking hands in harmony. That goes to show that religious groups does live peacefully together in the region. Earlier, I spoke about the administrative office of government that was at the Jubilee House in Accra. I think that was the second picture in the presentation. So Ghana is now, since 2019, Ghana was divided into 16 regions, and each region is further divided into districts. So this allows for distribution of resources. This allows for administration of the country smoothly, so that the government does use all these regions and district and their leaders, or the district assembly heads, to make sure that there's a free and equal distribution of resources. However, during the time of independence, Ghana's independence in 1957, there were just 10 administrative regions, which were the Ashanti region. We can look at the map as the map of Ghana, as I mentioned them. The Ashanti region, the Central and Eastern region, always close to each other. The Upper East and Upper West region, that is now called the Savannah. So we call it Savannah, but then Savannah there's a Savannah region, there's a little bit of a tangential difference there, but the whole of the Upper East and Upper West are called the Savannah, but now, due to the new demarcation of regions, we have the Savannah region. We have the Greater Accra, which is around the southern coastline, and that is where that is the capital of Ghana, and the Brong-Ahafo region. However, let me not forget to mention the Volta region and the Oti region, which was a new region that was included in the new demarcations of the country. So when you get to Ghana and you want to go through this whole process, every region has something beautiful to offer, especially when it comes to tourism and come to involving yourself, or the alluring beauty of the place. You get a chance to go to all these places to see them.
So
Okay.
Nancy,
Yeah.
before we get to the next one, if you can go back to the map, wondering if you could quickly indicate where we all maybe grew up or have lived or visited. I can start. So I was born in the Eastern region, schooled there for most of my life, and then for university education, I came to Greater Accra and lived in Tema, but was attending University of Ghana. So Greater Accra will be the bottom right side, right? And the Eastern region is. I've been to maybe I also schooled in Ashanti region. So lived mostly in 3 regions, but visited maybe 2 or 3 additional regions. But this is all in the south, right?
Yeah.
And Nancy, you were saying you were born in the northern part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I was born in the northern part, that is Upper East. The pink part of the map, high up there, just next to Burkina Faso. So I was fortunate enough to get to learn French, but I must admit that I've forgotten all my French. I did grow up in the northern region, that is Tamale, the fastest growing region in the country, and schooled in Ashanti region. So Ashanti region is Gold, Kumasi, and finally I did work in the central region. So I had a chance to see the beach, and you should see me when I first saw the beach. I was so excited. I saw the beach quite recently, so it was a beautiful scenery. Yeah.
And then you schooled in Greater Accra. You went to University of Ghana too, right?
No, I went to
you went Tech.
yeah,
Okay.
University of Science and Technology. So that was in the Ashanti region. Yeah.
Good. Ashi mentioned that he grew up in Tema, so that's also in the Greater Accra region, the bottom right.
Yeah.
And then Jamal,
I think my story is similar to yours, David, actually. I also grew, even though I grew up in the central region, which is on the coast, I only lived there for 4 years. And so I couldn't remember much. Then we moved to the eastern region. My father was a teacher by then. And so as a government teacher, you get transferred to different parts of the country. And he was transferred to the eastern region. And that's where I lived for the most of my life. And so from there, I went to the Greater Accra region, which is also on the coast. So you can tell, whilst Nancy spent many years in the north, I was down there on the coast. Yeah. Even though I grew up not on the coast, that's eastern region. So from there, I had the opportunity to visit other regions through educational endeavors and conferences. But I must admit, I haven't been to the north before. But I see the beauty in the northern region, and that's one of my goals. I go back home. That's one of the places I really want to go to. And I encourage people, don't be like me, go to the north of Ghana. They have a lot there to offer. Yeah.
We shouldn't listen to you then.
No. I didn't. Well, don't listen to me. Listen to Nancy. Nancy
Yeah.
has seen it. And
Well, you
everybody needs to see
Yeah.
you
But
should visit everywhere, you know. I think Caroline has a question about languages. There are a lot of languages. I think everyone in Ghana can speak at least more than 2 languages. So it's really difficult to put a number on the languages due to interactions and all that.
but there are official languages, right? Do you remember the
Yeah,
number? Is it 40 something? Or
I think it is around 45.
yeah.
If I'm not wrong, it's around 45. Although the English is the language that is used to administer the country. Well, because of this diversity in ethnicity and languages, it was definitely difficult for the independent Ghana to decide on one particular language to use. However, the beauty is that in every region, the language is reinforced and is being taught in every classroom in Ghana. So when you go to the north, and you are even from the south, you get to learn the northern languages in your classroom. You get to learn Fafra, Mampusi, Dagbani, Kosasi. There's a lot, Dagari. Go to the south, you get to learn Fanti, Akan or Tree, Ga, Ewe, and there's just a lot of languages. So I'm sorry, I hope we don't get you confused, but I believe it's part of the beauty of it.
Yeah, and when you think of language, right, it's about Ghana, think about our ethnicity. Our languages are linked to the ethnic groups. So we have within a clan, there might be 3, 4 different or even more ethnic groups within that clan. And so these ethnic groups might speak the same language, but there are some variations. For example, David and I from a broader clan should be from one, but our languages, even though we both speak Tree, there are some minute differences in some expressions and words that we use. But the beauty, as Nancy pointed out earlier, there is that appreciation of diversity and unity. And so even though we have these different ethnic groups, they don't stop us from learning different languages. Wherever you find yourself, you spend some significant time there, you get to pick on some words. And so there are people who can speak my language better than I can do because they lived in my community probably longer than I did. So we have many languages, but we've been able to come together on English and other dominant languages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Sorry for the digression. I thought it would be fun for people to kind of connect to where experiences are coming from.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so I just want to talk a little bit about the system of governance. Ghana is a democratic country. Our first constitution was put together or created in 1992. And although Ghana went through a lot of coups and it has fought a lot to get to where it is today. So today to attain harmony and sustainability in the country, we have the legislature, the executive, and judiciary, which are the 3 arms of government. Where we all know the legislature does make laws, and the executive does execute or carries out the law, and the judiciary, which evaluates the law. So below, it's one beautiful thing is that Ghana does give opportunities to women, although it hasn't gotten so much as compared to men. But then women are given the opportunity to become a part of parliament, of government, given the opportunity to serve in ministerial positions, you know. So the picture there, her lordship Gertrude, sorry, I've forgotten her last name. Dave, can you help? The Chief Justice of Ghana.
Yeah, so she's
Yes.
Justice, current Chief Justice. I think the last two, were also
women.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that Chief Justice position is now reserved for women.
Yeah.
But you're right. We haven't had a female president yet, but we're getting closer because women are very vibrant in the political system and just administration in general. Universities have vice chancellors who are women, and So we do have our own gender dynamics, and women do play a critical role in decision making, both traditionally and also in the contemporary administrative system. Yeah.
Yeah. And our president, in case you have never really seen him, this is his picture. His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo Dankwa. He is the current president of Ghana. And just like the US, Ghana holds their elections every 4 years, and we have an election in December 7th of this year. So we are hoping to see what happens if his political party is going off or going to stay on. Yeah. Yeah. If we do not have questions, I'll just proceed. Okay. So just a little bit about water bodies in Ghana. Ghana has significant water bodies. We did see in the map the Gulf of Guinea, but even inland, there are also water bodies that border the country. The Volta, when you get to Ghana, you'd hear so much about the Volta River or the Volta Lake, and the Akosombo Dam. So the Akosombo Dam was the initiative of the first president of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I'm sure we've all heard about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I hope you have, because he's one of the wonderful Pan-Africanist leaders and did fight for Ghana's independence and the independence of other African countries. He did, in line with support from the United States, he constructed or began construction of the Akosombo Dam to supply hydroelectricity to most parts of the country. And fun fact is, Ghana still does supply electricity to countries like Togo and Benin. And I think sometime too it did supply electricity to parts of Nigeria. I don't know whether it's still going on, but because now we have a lot of a lot of challenges at the moment with regard to the supply of electricity, but I think the government is working hard to resolve that issue. So the Volta River is indeed significant water source and has a drainage basin that covers approximately 40% of the country's land area. Although it's fraught with challenges with overspillage and thus once in a while destroys the property of the people, the government is working hard to remedy that issue. Yeah, we are still open to getting resources from donors to maybe expand the Akosombo Dam further to continuously supply electricity to parts of to the country and other parts of West Africa.
Yeah, just to add here, so Ghana is expanding significantly, industrializing so fast, and so we do have a huge challenge with electricity generation. So even though we have this infrastructure, there's been additional dams. If you talk about the challenges in Ghana, that would be one of the things that come up. And also one fun fact, so the Volta Lake, this one is the largest man-made lake in the world, by the way. So it was really small, and they constructed and got this dam, but it's still known as the largest man-made lake. Okay, Nancy, you can continue.
Yeah, thanks for that.
If you have any question, you can start speaking up or just put something in the chat. We'll pick up on that. I think Ashu has something to say.
Yeah, I was going to just say a kind of few fun facts as well around the dam, Nancy. So the dam, you mentioned the dam was built with the help of the Americans, right?
Yeah,
so actually so that's actually where Kaiser Aluminium came in, right? So Kaiser was the company that came in and helped build the dam. And then they built this aluminum smelter in Tema, which is called Valco, Volta Aluminium Company, right? And that's actually where my dad he came to Ghana for different reasons, and eventually, after one thing or another, ended up with Valco in Tema. But the dam was a very controversial. So eventually it became very controversial because, and this may be too much detail and maybe a little political, but anyway, we can, spice things up a bit. But what happened was that there was a negotiated rate for the electricity to be supplied from the dam to Valco, which was very low. And over time, and that was to induce Kaiser to come and help build the dam. Over time, as Ghanaians were facing power shortages, and some of you may remember all these. Well, I guess you're much younger than I am. So, but we used to have we used to have like 1 day off, 2 days on power for many years while I was growing up. So while the country was suffering with power shortages, Valco was guaranteed power because they got the first like allocation of power. So, during droughts, the lake that David mentioned, the lake would go down and the flow would be reduced and there would be, power outages. And so it wasn't until Jerry Rawlings came into power that Jerry Rawlings said, enough is enough. We're no longer, and he essentially broke the contract with Valco on this guaranteed power. So it was very controversial at the time, right? But it was kind of interesting because Valco then had to shut down and this and that. And there was a lot of controversy at that time. Well, I shouldn't say controversy. There was a lot of stuff going on at that time, but it's an interesting history that I'm very aware of because my family was very much not involved, but affected by that since my dad was working at Valco at the time. So anyway, so there's some interesting colonial issues there, right? About the dam and how it was built and what Ghana had to give up to get the dam. So anyway, I thought I'd just throw that out there. Oh, thank you.
That's really good. Thank you. That's helpful. And you're right. It affects every person in Ghana because it remained our main source of energy for a long time. And with the current struggles, when there are struggles at the Akosombo Dam, it touches every life. Yeah. Thanks for the history and all the nuances that you've shared, Asha. Okay, Nancy, I think we'll turn back to you.
Yeah, so David says we are running out of time, but I think I'll quicken the pace. So as we can see, diverse tapestry of culture, despite Ghana's diversity, it's incredibly amicable and welcoming. And we see all the beautiful colors and regalias in this picture. I'm not going to dwell a lot here, but I just want us to move forward. So earlier I spoke about major ethnic groups that live in the country, and I did talk about the Akan, the Guan, the Gama, Dangwe, and all that. However, these ethnic groups also have subgroups. These ethnic groups are made up of subgroups that are embedded in them, like Jamal and David spoke about, coming from the same clan, the same group, but having different clans, right? Yeah, that's what you discussed. So they're kind of the Hafu, the Pamo, the Asante, Bono, Fanti, and the Kohu people. And this is more or less like their culture. They kind love the drums. In making their music, they use the drums and other instruments for their music, the way they kente a lot. When you go to Ghana, you get to see the Bon village in the Ashanti region. You'd also see their love for funerals. In Ghana, they are when they go for funerals, they do wear black. So as we can see the picture there, they wear either full black or red, right? Are there differences in it, or it just depends on your mood and what you want to wear?
Well, I think it's a mix of black and red.
Okay.
Sometimes you see white, which is mostly when the person was in real advanced age. I think it's after 70 or so. Then people white and black. Yeah. Otherwise, funerals would be black and red.
Okay. And one of the other cultural elements is also their shrines. When you go to parts of the Ashanti Eastern region there, you'd see a lot of these shrines that still live on, and how it is highlights their spiritual growth and where they came from. So there are a lot of stories behind these shrines, and I hope, unfortunately, we do not have time to delve deep into it, but hopefully you can add it to the manual. The Mori Dagbani, these are people that are located in the northern region of Ghana, also diverse, often from the same ancestry, and their language, just like the Akans, are similar but different. Tonations are different, sometimes words are, but then there's a lot of similarities. So if I understand Frafra, if I'm a Frafra, I understand when a Dagari person is speaking, because there are a lot of similarities in the words and the tonations. So we have the Kusasi, Chamba, Mampusi, all this whole list are, and the list isn't exhaustive. There's still a lot more that we couldn't include there, but there's a lot there. And one of their beverages is the pito. I don't know if we see the calabashes there with the red substance in it that is made from millet. I don't know whether we know what millet is, but red millet. That is like part of the corn family, you know, and I'm sure we know what corn is, but it's part of the corn family. We see the different fabrics that they wear, and horses. Yeah, there are a lot of horses in the north because indigenously that was one way of transportation for them. And they build their homes in huts. And fun fact that this is clay. Clay is used to build these huts. And don't worry, no matter the rain, the hut isn't going to collapse, and it's very cool in it. So it is one of the indigenous forms of building by the Mole Dagbani. The Ewes too are located in the Volta part of the region. Yes, Caroline, the Gari are also found in Burkina Faso, parts of the Burkina Faso, and they did migrate inland to parts of Ghana, to the upper east region of Ghana. So the Ewes are located in the Volta region, and they're made of the Anglo, the Some, Tongu, and Ewe Dome. There are a lot more too that are Ewes, a part of the Ewe group. Their languages to like other ethnic groups are very similar intonation and sounds, and they are unique in their own way. Their traditional attire to it, sometimes a kente, and it's flexible, you know, depending on what you want to wear or where you come from. But the interesting part is most of the people who stay in the Ewe region or are Ewes do have the chance to speak French because of how close the region is to one of the French-speaking countries in the region. So the Ga Dangwe is where the seat of government is, that is in Accra. We see the Ga and the Dangwem, which are two separate but connected ethnic groups. We also have the Yilo and the Krobo that are part of it. I'm sure when you come to Accra, especially during their festival, the Homowo, where they say they're hooting at hunger, you know, where they spread mashed yam on the street and egg. So the mashed yam and the egg, they spread it on the streets and giving it to the gods. So they believe that the gods exist and the god had stopped famine. So that is one of the big festivals that's happening in Accra among the Gans. So in describing cultural diversity vividly, there's a lot of intermingling there, but there are also a lot of extinct differences. So I hope I'm not getting us all confused with this. Now the Guan are made up of a lot of subgroups too. This the Wutu, the Lolo, the Lemi, Apafu, and the Chamburo. And one of their famous musical instruments is a xylophone. I do not know how to play the xylophone, but it's a beautiful instrument to listen to. And it is also called the token. It has the element of the talking language, so it's used to communicate. If you hear the rhythms of the xylophone, it means it's communicating a certain message to the people, and that is one beautiful and wonderful thing about the xylophone and the Guan people. I just, before we move forward, I don't want us to forget the history of Ghana and not separate the history of Ghana from colonialism and slavery from the history of Ghana, because this does make up, well, the trauma narrative is important. You know, we can't always talk about the progress. We always have to go back and talk about the trauma narrative. The Gold Coast, which is Ghana today, initially was called the Gold Coast. And it is in colonial times, European powers did establish forts and castles along the coast because it was easy, it was closer to the sea, and that is where their ships could come in and settle. Going inland would have been very difficult because of transportation and lack of routes that could lead to the inland centers. So when you go to Ghana today, you see a lot of forts and castles dotted around the coast. And I'm sure if you've ever been to Ghana, you've gone to maybe some of these castles, Elmina Castle, Cape Coast Castle, and all these others that exist in the country. Although the Portuguese were the first Europeans to get to Ghana and started trading with the people in gold, iron, slaves, other Europeans, did also partake in this trade. The Danish came, the Dutch, Perusians, and finally the British were settled there in the 17th to the 18th century. These forts, like I said earlier, did allow them to trade lucratively, and it was named the Gold Coast. Ghana was named the Gold Coast then because of the vast resource in gold, slaves, timber, and other resources that existed there. So most of the forts were leased to the British in 1872. And most of these forts, as I said, still exist. And although it's not tempered with, I always ask why they're not painted, but I'm sure it's history. We just want to leave it in its natural state. So after all the other Europeans left, the British just stay, and after emancipation, slave emancipation was done, a new form of trade began, and that was in colonial rule, where the British used indirect rule to rule the people of Ghana, to oppress them. And this form of rule did exemplify political domination and economic exploitation of the people of the country. So there was a lot of exploitation in gold, silver, cocoa, that was taken, resources that were exploited in the country. And also, let's not forget that when these resources are being exploited, it means that the manpower of the people are being exploited too. So it is one of the things we should remember about the cons of imperialism and colonial rule in the country. Do we have any questions, or I can proceed? Okay, no questions. So colonialism did lead to nationalism, and which is always a boomerang part of the whole story, where Europeans, especially the British, were not ready to, they didn't really see nationalism coming. However, dominant Ghanaians that had a chance to be educated in Western style of education, like Kwame Nkrumah and other leaders, did have a bigger side or bigger plans for the country, and they use a chance to fight for independence for the country. So that indeed the seeds of nationalism did lead to independence, but it wasn't easy. Kwame Nkrumah was influenced by Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, and the Pan-Africanist group. He also received education, Western style education in the West. So we can see that it did open doors and opportunities for Africans. Although education in the West opened doors and opportunities for Africans, it also allowed them to think for themselves and to use opportunity to fight for self-governance, self-determination, and liberty from oppression from colonial rule. So above there is Kwame Nkrumah in his Kente regalia, and below him are the Big Six. We call them the Big Six, and this picture is always on the currency notes of the country. So when you come to Ghana, you exchange your money to the Ghanaian city, you'd see all the Big Six on all the notes. That is appreciating them for their work in fighting for independence and self-determination for the country. Yeah, so this is always the big thing, very, very important. 6th of March, 2 weeks ago, Ghana did celebrate its birth and became Ghana. And in achieving complete political independence from the British colonial rule, after years of exploitation and oppression. In the pictures, we do see Queen Elizabeth II visiting the country. And the picture above that is at the Independence Square, where Kwame Nkrumah and his cohorts did declare independence for the country from colonial rule and oppression. And also, Nkrumah was definitely supported a lot by the Pan-Africanist freedom movement. And let's not forget the support of Pan-Africanists, especially from the US, for Ghana's independence and self-determination. Yes.
And I should put in a point here that Ghana was the first to get independent, south of the Sahara. And it's crucial because Ghana did then influence other African countries. And not just the influence, but also provided material support to the other countries to gain independence. So Ghana's name comes up even in other countries.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Indeed, Ghana was the first, and Ghana did support a lot of support, even resources to places like Guinea. So if you go read the history of Guinea, you would see a lot of Ghana's involvement in Guinea's fight for independence. Okay, so in case you want to come to Ghana to do research, you do not have to be worried. There are a lot of archives and research libraries dotted around the country. We have the Mencha Archives that is located on the premises of the Mencha Palace. The Mencha Palace is where the king of the Akan Kingdom resides. So it's beautiful. You would see a lot of it's welcoming, it's makeable, like they allow you to see all the beautiful regalias that a king wears and his ornaments and all that. You do not have to be worried when you get there. And there are also other archives like the regional and national archives. There are regional archives in Wa, Cape Coast, Tamale, Katanga, and Sekondi Takrady. I hope I'm not missing any. And the national archive is situated in the capital city, Accra. There's also the BAM Library located on the premises of the University of Ghana, where there are a lot of collections of history that exist there that still lives on paper. Also on that same campus is the J.H. Kobina Nketia Archive. So if you get there, it's easy to get access to archival documents. You just need to get there with a valid ID and sign, registered, and you have the chance to see the documents you're interested in. However, I have to say that most of the documents that exist in these archives are often around the colonial era. So if you want to read documents on slave trade, you might have to go to the British National Archive in London. But if you want to read a lot of colonial documents, the archives in Ghana are the best bet for you. Okay, so a little bit of tourism, something to lighten up the mood. This video is very short, so David, you do not have to be worried. I'll be done soon. Yeah, let's just watch this video. And please let me know if you do not hear, like the volume is low. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So as I said, it's a very short video. Sorry, just trying to change this. Yeah. So Ghana has a lot of tourist attraction, iconic tourist attraction. And in every region, there are a lot of tourist centers or sites you can visit when you get to Ghana. The list, as I said, is not exhaustive. There's still a lot more to see. However, we couldn't put them in this presentation. Earlier, I spoke about the Jamestown Lighthouse. And now we have the beautiful Kwame Nkrumah Museum that was just, was it the last year that it was built in 2023? Yeah.
Well, it's been built for a long time, but they renovated it and reopened it last summer. It's a very beautiful place. That's where Nkrumah is buried, but there's just so much to see there. Definitely a place to see.
Yeah. So where Kwame Nkrumah and his wife, the First Lady of Ghana, Fatia Nkrumah, I think they're both buried there. It's beautiful. There are also beautiful beaches dotted along the coast. And one of the most popular one is the Labadi Beach. So you want to see Labadi Beach when you get there. The Osu Castle is also in Accra, the W.E.B. Du Bois Center. I think W.E.B. Du Bois was buried in Ghana. He did live in Ghana for a while and was buried there. So that is one of the beauty of Pan-Africanism and African involvement, African American involvement in African history. Also, the Accra Art Center also exists where you can get a lot of paraphernalia on indigenous Ghanaian relics. But David says you should remember to bargain, because in Ghana, there's no actual price to anything. You always have to bargain, bargain the price. I'll give you $2 instead of $5 and you're going to get it. Yeah. Then also we have the Independence Square and the Black Star Square that are also sites in Ghana to see. And as I said, there's a lot more to see there. In Kumasi, I mentioned the Mencha Palace Museum. So the Mencha Palace has an archive and has a museum too. So you get to see all that. The Lake Bosomtwe is also one of the beautiful lakes in the Ashanti region. The Bonre Kente, as you can see in the picture, it's beautiful patterns, unique patterns, and always has a message, So it depends on what style you want to woven for you. You get to choose your preference. And the Bonre village is pretty nice. When you get there, you want to go to Ashanti region, see the village, you can go there and they would always weave in a beautiful Kente pattern for you. Then there's also the Adinkra village located in the Ashanti region. Am I missing any other thing in Ashanti region? I think there's a lot more, but
I'm sure Fred will love that Adinkra village. Personally, I didn't know there was an Adinkra village, yeah, but that's good to know. But Fred, so that should be on your list when you visit.
Yeah, so when you get to the Adinkra village, you are allowed to create your own pattern. So the Adinkra is there. I want to put the maybe Sankofa pattern on my fabric, they help you do all that. And it's a whole beautiful process and alluring process to do that. Also, sites in the central region, there's the Cape Coast Castle, as I said earlier, the Kakum National Park, which is always a lot of adrenaline when I'm on the walkway. It's high and there's a lot of myths that there are lions and all that below in the forest there, but I don't really know how true it is. I don't want to try it. Also, there's the Elmina Castle in Elmina. The first missionary schools were built in Cape Coast, so we still have the St. Augustine College and others that still exist there. And not forgetting the St. Manso Slave River, which does remind us of slavery. That is where you go to see the last bath, where slaves or enslaved people that were brought from inland took their last shower there, then transported to the ship and taken to the New World. When you get there, it's solemn, it's sad, but then it's part of the history, and it's important to see these places to be able to draw connections to Ghana's past.
I think Carolina has a question. Can we also find voodoo culture as in Benin and Nigeria? I don't know, maybe the Volta region, right?
Yeah,
Voodoo.
there is, but it definitely has a different name, not necessarily called voodoo.
Yeah,
but
juju. As she said, juju. That's right. That you want to hear that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called yeah, definitely the juju. So in Ghana, here juju, that definitely means voodoo. It's not, I don't think it should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The voodoo is sorry, I realize it's getting dark here. But the voodoo, the juju is the original, that's what it is. And then when we went over to the West Indies, then it was called voodoo. So they kind of bastardized the name, you see. But it's actually the juju, and they have like even in the West Indies, they have the Anansi stories. They have like a lot of that culture from West Africa you find in the West Indies, right? And it's all coming from the Gold Coast, basically. So So voodoo is actually juju, but just
Yeah.
misnamed, if you will. So yeah, you find that there to answer the question.
There's also a big festival that happens in Togo, just further, just on the, I forgot what time of year it is, but in Lomé, in Togo, there's a big festival, traditional belief systems festival that happens that draws people from all over the Black Atlantic world. So people who, Anglophone, Portuguese, all the Lusophone, all over. I forgot what it's called, but I think it's called the Festival of the Black Deities, I think it's called, and that happens in Lomé. And you can find it, and that's a great place to find out about all the traditional belief systems in the region, and what they're called. It's escaping me right now, but it does happen in Lomé.
Well, thanks for sharing, Fred and Ashu. I had no idea Juju was the original. But this is fascinating. Yeah, thank you. Nancy, yeah, we can continue. You have a few more slides, right?
Yeah, just a few more to go. Other sites in the Volta region, the Woolly Waterfalls, Tefe Atame Monkey Sanctuary. Well, there you get to feed the monkeys, which is beautiful. The Mount Afadjato, the highest mountain in Africa, in Ghana. And it is, if you like to hike, it's a beautiful place to go to, and you get to see the landscape of the country. Then there is also the Adome Bridge. I don't have the picture of the Adome Bridge here, so it's something you should look out for when you get to the Volta region. And also, well, there's a belief that most of this, the juju, it's definitely located in the Volta region, but then it's not necessarily true, because every ethnic group does have their own belief system, and they have their different forms of religion and worship. So that belief system is not really valid. It's not just concentrated in the Volta region of Ghana. Also sites in the north, the Larabanga Mosque, which is my favorite. There's a myth that the mosque, the one with the black and white painting, there's a myth that the mosque expands when you're inside. So although when you're outside it looks small, it can take about 1,000 people. I don't know how true that is, but that is one of the ancient mosques that still exist, and it's quite fascinating to go there. Earlier I spoke about the Morley Park, where the elephants, monkeys, and all these other animals are, where you can go for a safari ride. And the Paga Crocodile Pond, where you can tag a crocodile and take pictures, but you have to be extra careful if you're not an indigenous person from the place, from Paga. You might that the myth is that the crocodile would hurt you, but I don't think it's really true. So just tread cautiously when you get there. If the crocodile is fed and is full, I don't think you'd be hurt in any way. Then the Tongo Hills and Tanzui Shrine, one of the places you'd want to visit if you want to see indigenous African juju. The Tanzui Shrine is in a cave, and it's a beautiful place to see. Oh, yeah, the crocodile one, that's nice. So the Tanzui Shrine is a place to see. And when you get there, especially when you have fertility issue, you want to have kids, you get there and pray to the gods. The myth is that you get a chance to conceive a kid, or conceive a child. So if you have fertility challenges, please go to the Tanzui Shrine, which is located in the northern region. Yeah. Okay, so sites in the eastern region are the Bori Falls, the Buri Botanical Gardens, beautiful place. I think there's even a waterfall there, if I'm not wrong. Beautiful scenery, and it's serene. You can go there to relax, sunbathe, and all the things you want to do. Some people go there to pray too. So yeah. Also, I spoke about the Kosovo Dam earlier, and the Kwahu paragliding. This is often in Easter, where you go to see the mountains, see the sceneries, and get to enjoy all the festivities embedded during the Easter period. Yeah, I think this is the final one, sites in the western region. And one of my favorites is the Nzulezu Village and Water. So when you It's so beautiful. Get into Nzulezi, you get to sit in a canoe, get to touch the water and all the before you get to the village. It's so interesting that these people live on the water. They have a school there. They have a church. I think the Catholic Church is there. I don't know whether they have a clinic. I don't think they do have a clinic, but it's a beautiful place to go to. And whenever you get there, they're going to serve you food. So be ready to enjoy the meals there. There's also the Fort Medal Cross and the Twin City Sekendita Krade, known as I think the Oil City. Today we call it the Oil City in Ghana. Okay, so my favorite part. Sorry for saying I like food too much. So I'm sure we've all heard of the Ghana-Nigeria war on jollof. But we all know that Ghana's jollof is the best. If you haven't had it, it's better than Senegalese and Nigerian jollof. Yeah, Fred is disagreeing with me or agreeing with me. Yeah, so there's a lot of different foods based on the ethnic group you come from. However, Ghanaians do eat anything they want to eat due to the diversity. Ghanaians, you can eat anything you want to eat based on your dietary restrictions or whatever. So we have the famous plantain, which is called kilewele, fried with spices. We have the TZ from northern Ghana. I think the kinky is associated with the Ghana. Yes. I think. Oh yeah, the best jollof, yeah. And there's also the new. I don't know where Ghanaians found the egg and pepper from, but I don't know why we are allowed to that. Then there's the fufu and light soup and the wache. Definitely, I think wache was adopted from northern Nigeria, but it's one of the famous and delicious dishes you want to try when you get to Ghana. Also, let me add that there are other restaurants dotted around Ghana. We have the Chinese and Ethiopian restaurants that are also found in the city. So it depends on what you want to eat or what you want to try out. So the list isn't exhaustive. Sorry, I'm rushing because I'm out of time. Then just a little bit of music and dance. We have the Adowa dance. I'm sure we've all heard about the Adowa dance that's associated with the Akan, and the Bobobo dance that is mostly it is associated with the Ewe. And I must say that all these dances have a message or a language they are putting across. So when you see the people dancing the Adowa, it has a specific language to you. Yes, the Killerele is awesome. And the Adowa to the Bobobo has a message too. So just these are short videos. I just want us to look at the Adowa dance that is associated with the Akan ethnic group and how beautiful it is. Yes. So that is the Adowa dance that is associated with the Akan and the Akan dynasty and the Bobobo. Yeah, so that is a Bobobo and the song is in Ewe. I do not understand Ewe, but I think it's maybe they're saying something interesting. Yeah. Yes. So
and you have these slides, and so you'll be able to watch the full videos
yes.
if you're interested. Yeah.
Just trying to change the slide. What's happening? Okay, yeah. So the Fafra and the Dagom the Damba, the Fafra and Damba dance are from the north. So the Fafra are from the upper east side of the northern region, and the Damba from the Dagomba group in the yeah. So this is the dances. Yeah, that is the fugu, also called the smoke in Ghana. It's associated with the north. And then because of diversity and the pluralistic nature of the country, there's also the blend of traditional and contemporary dances. You can get this in the slide. And yeah, so very short. Let me pause this. Yeah, and also there are dance schools in Ghana. So if you get to Ghana, you're interested in learning some of these dances, you can enroll in the dance classes or dance schools. Yeah, so although Ghana is fraught with its challenges, especially with regards to healthcare, there are also beautiful healthcare infrastructure or facilities dotted around the region. We have the Ridge Hospital and the University of Ghana Medical Center, which are, I think they're fairly new facilities that were built for healthcare needs. There's also the regional the regional hospital in Tamale. That is also a place where they teach the medical students in the region. Then their Komfanochi Teaching Hospital that has a big history on its own. And you get that in the manual when you go in to access it later. Now, dressing. Dressing is one unique part, or fashion is one unique part of Ghana's culture. We have the kente. The kente isn't just worn to any place, it's worn to specific occasions. I think weddings, and what other places can wear the kente to? We can wear kente
I
to
think mostly church and social event. Yeah.
social events. I don't think people necessarily wear kente to work. No, that would be too much because the kente is heavy. It's woven, so it's pretty heavy. We also have the smock that is associated with the northern Ghana, which is called the fugu. So when you get to northern Ghana or even get to the south, you want to buy the fugu. It's beautiful. You wear it, and as we saw in the dance video prior to this, the weight and they're all heavy. Most of the indigenous attires in Ghana are pretty much heavy, so you can't be wearing it at any point in time. And also there are also forms of casual dressings, informal dressing. So when you're packing to come to Ghana, feel free to just pack anything you want to wear. There are no restrictions as to what to wear. You might just want to cover up a little when you get there. And there's also the kaftan. I think kaftan was mostly adopted from northern Nigeria. Also beautiful fabric there. Okay, so some do's and don'ts in Ghana, and just for you to have this information in case you want to get there and you do not want to seem disrespectful due to ignorance and all that. The right hand in Ghana is very important. You always have to use your right hand to eat. You have to use your right hand to shake and to give or receive items such as money. So if you meet an elderly person, like in the pictures there, you slightly bow and shake the person's hand, as you saw Idris Alba and the Asantehene Osei Tutu II, shaking hands with the king. So he had to bow and shake hands with him. Also, you must always greet people. I'm sorry for this, but it's one thing you always have to do. Hello, hi. It's important to the people and part of their culture. And also you have to, it's nice to just learn a few words in any of the local languages. And the beauty of it is we're going to get a chance to learn Twi. So when you get there, you can always introduce yourself or greet people in the Twi language. You do not also have to cross your legs when you're sitting with elders or people that are older than you. Sometimes it come off a little bit disrespectful, but it's flexible too, depending on the gathering you are with. And I think one of the cons or the don'ts is also do not eat while talking. Yeah, it has a whole cultural history behind this. So my mom always says women do not eat and talk. So yeah, African mothers. And also kindly try to limit curse words or vulgar words, especially when you are in public spaces, because people will look at you in a certain way, like, okay, what is happening here? And also smoking. Ghana isn't does not have a smoking culture. So if you want to smoke, you'd have to try to smoke in private rather than in public spaces. So if you have any other questions, we can always do that after this. And yeah, so I'm sure I rushed a lot of things, but I hope that we've been able to get the history and how heterogeneous Ghana's culture is and its people. I'm sure we have a lot more questions and contributions or comments. I'm ready to answer them, and David and Jamal and Ansu are also here to help me. So the Akan will say medase as thank you. Akwe is the Ewe says Akwe, and the Farfers of Northern Ghana says Imposia, which all means thank you for being here and thank you for being part of this journey. Yeah.
Great, thank you. This is fascinating. Great. I'm a Ghanaian. I lived a lot of years in Ghana, and I still have, learned so much today. So this is really good. Thank you. Like we said, we will share the slides, and so you can take your time and go through them, and also reach out to us if you have further questions. We want to take a break, but maybe just 1 or 2 minutes to take any pressing question you have. When we come back, we can take some more questions. Anything or any contribution? Anything you think we left out? I'm sure we left out a lot, but the pressing ones. Yeah,
Hi.
Carol.
I have a question because one of the things that I can see in African cultures in general is the respect for elderly people. And here in Brazil, for example, we have many special places for them when people become elderly. And how do you deal in Ghana when you have a person of your family that become elder and you don't have how to deal with this person in your house? Because I don't know that you have this kind of places in Ghana. Yeah, it's over. This is the question.
I don't know if I understood your question correctly. So you're talking about how to handle difficult people in your house. Is that, or not necessarily difficult people, but when people come into your space or your home, is that so others would chime in, but just generally, people are very courteous and nice to folks and especially foreigners, right? If they know you're not from that context or culture, they will be even more nice to you and try to be helpful, especially if you're looking for guidance and a direction to a place or anything like that. And people like to share too. So that's what I was overall very open and nice to strangers, people they are not familiar with.
Yeah.
Anyone wants to add? Hopefully I captured your question correctly.
Yeah, just to add to what David said, they are very affable. So you might, like what David said, you might be like, oh, this person is too nice, but that is how most Ghanaians are. They are extra nice, and they do understand that you are a foreigner, so you might not be able to understand most of the things going on. And you do not have to be afraid if you do not understand any of the indigenous languages, because at least every Ghanaian understands a little bit of English. So you'll be able to speak to the person with gestures or even the English language. And I think that shouldn't be a worry so much when it comes to communicating or interacting with the locals.
I was going to also add that my experience in Francophone West Africa is that hospitality is seen as a mark of civilization, right? Like it's seen as like in Senegal, they have a concept, it's called Terenga, and it basically means like radical hospitality. So when someone comes to you and you need a place if you need something to eat, or if you need something to drink, or if you need directions, it's their duty. They see it as their duty to direct you and help you. I think the concept is built into the culture. And I think that I also think that in the Francophone kind of like Islamic situation, that it's layered, right? Like it's in the culture because it's who they are, but then the concept of treating the stranger well in Islam also is layered on top of that as well. So like in Mali, I forgot what it's called, but there's a term, it's in Bamana, it's in Turkey, and it basically means friend. And everybody is your interrogate, like you treat them as so I think like that's at least that's one of the things that I've observed in my little travels in Francophone West Africa in particular. You see a lot of the hospitality.
Yeah, thanks, Fred and Nancy. And Carolina, just to get back to you, I want to make sure we addressing your original question, right? I don't know if we were off. So I'm looking at the chat. I think for what I was asking about just something similar to nursing homes or care for elderly people. And then as she said, I think she's talking about the elderly, you know. So anyway, did we answer your question? Do you want us to take it again?
Sorry. I don't know if the problem was my connection or my English, but yes, she told me it was the right thing. I was talking about these nursing homes in Africa because here in Brazil we have, and I could notice that in some places in Africa you don't have because everybody takes care of elderly people, and here we have a different perspective. So I would like to know if in Ghana it works at the same way in other African countries.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. I suspect it's same across most African countries, but in Ghana, certainly, the children have a responsibility to take care of their elderly parents, and not just parents, you know, uncles and aunties, and you do have them coming to live with you. I would say it's changing, beginning to have nursing homes, but it's predominantly the responsibility of the children. And at the very least, you take care of them. In most cases, you bring them into your home or in their old age to take care of them. Yeah. I hope I got it right, everyone, right?
I also wanted to add too is, and again, I'm coming from the Francophone kind of world, is that even the way that housing is structured to accommodate extended families, right? So in Mali, you see a lot of compounds, people who have means, even who don't have means, kind of build their homes in proximity to one another or live in compounds. People who have a little bit more money kind of live in compounds in ways such that they can support their elderly. So like when you see children 9, 10 years old, they're running back and forth between their parents and aunties and grandparents' house to do things for them, to do tasks for them, and because they're in close proximity. So it's changing a lot now because the resources are scarce, but you see a lot of compounds where folks live in close proximity.
Yeah, that's a key word, compound houses. And so you find relatives, a whole lot. And the more resources you have, the more folks you have in your house. And it's not just your parents, but other elderly folks. Yeah. So if you don't mind, I know we've been going for a while, so let's take a break here. Like I said at the beginning, we have a plan, but we'll be willing to throw it out and just cover what is really essential for this group. But when we come back, our plan is to go through some of the key phrases in Tree, which is just one of the languages. It will not be exhaustive. We will try to keep it to maybe 30 minutes, just 1 or 2 words that you can learn. And hopefully there'll be follow-up opportunities to learn a lot more. So coming back at 12:05, be okay? That'll be roughly 15, 17 minutes. Is that too much, too short? Just about right?
Yeah.
12:05? Okay. We will come back at 12:05 and continue. Thanks for your time and contribution.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. So Jamal will lead the next session, but before that, any question, let's see if others might come back in. So we can use a minute or two to take additional questions whilst possibly others join. So actually, I know you said you went to Paga, right? To sit on, did you sit on the
I never
alligator?
sat on the
Oh, you know what? Okay.
crocodile, but we fed it the chicken. You know, they bring the chicken and then it hears the chicken screaming and then it comes out. But that was like in
That's nice.
1975.
Wow, that's a long time ago. That's over
So
40 years. Yeah.
it must be the child or the grandchild now of that crocodile. I don't know. Unless there are many of them, but we always thought there was just one, so I don't know.
Yeah, Nancy, do you know how many crocodiles?
No, I think in 2008 when I went there were like 7.
Oh, okay.
We
So
had
maybe they had children. That's
yeah,
good.
two really old ones that were slow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So you know what, one thing that's quite disappointing is the domestic tourism culture is just not a thing in Ghana, right? People don't really go around to see much. Keep to your community and just take care of family. But maybe that's changing, but it hasn't been a big thing. People are beginning to go to some of these waterfalls and things like that. So probably going to change at some point. Yeah. So I remember I'll talk to folks and they'll tell me places they've been to in Ghana, and for me, it's just Accra and a few places in the Eastern region. Well, so I know if you folks have dropped off, Saturday is a tough tough day to have these sessions. So we appreciate you all staying, and even those who came in early in the morning. That was really nice to have them in here. So what we want to do next is cover a little bit of the tree language. It wouldn't be so much. We do have a whole slide deck, about 30 slides that we had planned, but given how much time we have and number of people here, we'll keep it simple. We will talk about probably two main things. So how to figure out your day name and how to pronounce it, and how to introduce yourself. You know, my name is this, and maybe a few greetings here and there, like good morning, how are you? So we'll keep it simple. But bear in mind, we do have a whole manual that you'll get access to. We'll also share the full slides. A lot of videos in this particular slides that will not be showing, but those are very well-produced videos that are available on the internet, and I think you will learn a lot by just watching them on your own later. So we'll dive right in. Jamal will share his screen and lead us in this session. I think Hillary is back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Let me quickly share my slides.
Nancy, are we still recording? Yeah,
Yes.
okay, good. Okay. Caroline is also, I keep saying Caroline, I don't know why. I have a Caroline on my team, so I keep saying Caroline. Carolina. Well, so it seems everyone is back. So for those who just joined, Hillary and Carolina, I was explaining that because of amount of time we have, we'll keep this part short, but certainly I think it's going to be meaningful for you. We will talk about names and how to introduce yourself, but you have the resources to go through later. Thanks for joining us again. Jamal.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, David, and the entire team that put this together, for giving me the opportunity to share my language, help people get bits of it. Unfortunately, because of time, we know how difficult it is to spare some few hours on a Saturday, especially early in the morning, to do things like this. So we appreciate you being here. So we have a lot of things we would be going through, but as we said, because of the time, we will take some out. Still, you can see the kente and the beads here. And then Fred, you have the Dinkra here. That is signifying that there's something above that talks about how religious we are. Religion is a big part of the Ghanaian culture, and so we always find a way to put God in things. For example, if you greet someone, you ask someone, how are you doing? The response will usually include God. I'm good by God's grace. God is with me, something like that. So the first thing I want us to look at is the names that we have according to the birthdays, not the dates, but the days. So when I introduce myself, I said my name is Jamal Apia Kubi, but nobody in my family, at least my nuclear family, calls me by any of these names. They call me by my birth name. That's the day I was born, my day name. Because we attach some importance to that name. That's the day you were brought onto this earth. So according to our culture, especially among the Akans, we think there is some connection to our soul, right? So I was born on a Sunday, so I'm called Kwesi. So when people want to talk to me intimately, at least in my family, they will say Kwesi instead of Jamal. So today what we are going to do is try to know these names, because if we get opportunity to be in the country, these are names we will hear a lot. And if we can introduce ourselves with these names, that's endearing. People accept us more because, one, we are trying to show that our culture is appreciated, and also we are ready to be part of it and learn from it. So quickly, let's look at it for Monday. So for a male born on Monday, the person is called Kwejo. Kwejo. For female, Ajoa. Tuesday, we have Kwabena and then Abena. Wednesday, we have Kweku and Epia. Thursday, we have Ya and Ya. Friday, we have Kofi and Efia. Saturday, we have Kwame and Ama. And then Sunday, Kwesi and Akosia. Now, these names originate from the 3 words for these days. For example, Monday, we say Joada. So the Jo sound we hear from Joada, we'll see that for both the male and the female names. When we go to, say, Thursday, we say Yawada. So you see Ya, Yaw, and Ya. So these names are very, very important in our culture, especially among the Akans. So what we are going to do is try to see if we can identify any of these individuals. Is there anyone who can identify any? You can write in the chat or you can just mention it. Is there anyone, any of the faces on the screen?
Kofi Annan.
Very good. Thank you for that. So Kofi Annan, that's the former UN Secretary General. He was born on Friday and he's Ghanaian, and that's why we call him Kofi Annan. So when you check the exact date of birth, it will fall on a Friday. That's why he is called Kofi Annan. I was born on December 6th, and that's on that particular year, 87. That was a Sunday. That's why I'm called Kwesi. Is there any other we can identify? Okay, because of time, we will show it. So we have Kwame Brown, who is a former basketball player, and then we have Kofi Kingston, Both of these guys have Ghanaian descent, and so their parents gave them these names based on the day they were born, right? So Kwame Brown was born on a Saturday, then Kofi Kingston, also like Kofi Annan, was born on a Friday. So I can see in the chat, good, we have Kwame Nkrumah, thank you very much, Hillary, who led Ghana in seeking independence. He was born on a Saturday. A couple of people with such names we may have come across. So what we are going to do now is try to see if we can find ours. Let's try and see if we can find ours. So if we can quickly.
I think it seems everyone has already identified this right in the chat. I'm looking at the chat, except I think Carolina, right? Seems everyone already mentioned. Oh,
okay, Hillary is Kofi. Very
yeah.
good. Yeah. Ashley is Kwesi. All right. Fota is AC. So these are the little dynamics or differences when it comes to specific ethnic groups. AC is for Fantis, and Fanti is an ethnic group within the Akan tribe. I'm also Fanti. So in Fanti land or among my group, they don't call me Kwesi, they call me Sisi or Sisi, right? So these are little differences according to ethnic lines, but among the same clans, these are little details that we all understand. All right, so if we all know this, there's a video we would have watched, but because of time, we will skip that. Now we are going to talk about greetings. When Nancy was taking us through her presentation, she underscored the importance of greetings, right, in the Ghanaian culture. And when we go to the country and we can use any of these, when we meet people, just extend your hand and saying these words, especially the appropriate ones, it shows people it opens them up and they're more welcoming to you. So the first one is welcome. That's Akwaba. 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 Is there anyone here who can try that?
Akwaba.
Akwaba. Good.
Akwaba. That's it?
Yeah, Akwaba. Yeah, it's not
Akwaba.
that, very good, not that difficult. Akwaba. So if you meet, usually this is when someone comes to your home, right? So if you walk into someone's home or you meet someone at the airport, and the person is welcoming you into the country or their homes, they will say the Akwaba. So then you say Medase. That's thank you, Medawase. So we have thank you here, Medawase. That's you accept the invitation and you are thankful for that, right? Then we have good morning, Machi. Good morning, Machi. Good afternoon, Maha. Maha. Evening, we have Majo. So when you meet someone in the evening, you can say Majo. And if you say Majo, the person will be more impressed than saying, hey, how are you? And you usually see a smile on the person's face. The person is more receptive. So these are little things that we can pick up and it will help a lot. Then we have Michiao, like greetings, Michiao. So now let's try and see if we can take them and if we can try. So with good morning, Machi. Can we try that? Who can try? Machi.
Machi.
Machi. Okay. Anyone
Machi.
else? Machi.
Machi.
Okay, what about good afternoon? Good afternoon. Maha.
Maha.
Maha. Good. All right. Good evening.
Majo.
Good. Majo. What about night? Usually you have interaction with someone or even on phone and the person is going to sleep. You are trying to wish the person a good night. Daye. Daye. So is there anyone who can try that?
Daye.
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 Daye. Okay. So before we continue, there's a question here. Carolina is asking, what is the literal translation for Medawase? Okay, that medawase is more of you are bowing to the person. So when Nancy was showing the slides on greetings, you will see that people were bowing, and originally people would even prostrate, right, in greeting people, showing their admiration and appreciation people. So that's where it came from originally, like bowing, going down for somebody. But over time, we just say it, medawase, medawase. So that symbolism has changed over the years, right? But the essence of the greetings is still the same, the appreciation that you're showing to someone. All right.
Then and then just in terms of the literal parts of it, so me is usually me, right? And then wo, like the WO would be you. And so when you see a lot of the me, it's likely that it's saying, it's talking about me, right?
Yeah,
First
yeah.
person.
Yes,
Um,
I was asking because in Portuguese we have a word called axé, that means the vital energy that we have. And this
Yep.
word comes from African heritage in our language. And this is something that we call here, for example, about Portuguese or Black Portuguese. That is the Portuguese with the insertion of African language here. That's why I asked it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you say Black Portuguese, right? With a B, right? Is that? Oh, I didn't know there was such a thing. Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
So I say here, I don't know if we're able to necessarily interpret that. I say would be,
in our language is down or under.
yeah. So that's what you're talking about, and rise or prostrating. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you
Well,
very
thank
much,
you.
David, for bringing up the pronoun for I or me. We have the me. So a lot of these greetings you would see beginning with M, right? It's because it's coming from I am extending that to you. Marching, mema watching. I am wishing you a good morning. So that's the literal meaning. Mema watching. I am wishing you a good morning. All right. So all these, that's a commonality. At some point, if we'll share the slides and there are some videos, you'll see the second person, that's you. You see a lot of W's, wo, wo, wo. And then for the third person, oh, because we're talking about a third person. So we'll not be showing the videos here, but you rest assured you get all of them, and they are also very informative.
So of all the stuff here, which one would you say would be the most crucial? I think that thank you, right? Medawase, right? Go back to it briefly.
Yeah.
Yes, right. If you were to try and memorize a couple of them, I think that thank you for sure.
I think thank you, and then michiao, when you meet someone, michiao.
Yeah, Michelle. And you can kind of raise your hand in a way, gesture, gesture a little bit. And so even if you get a pronunciation wrong, people will kind of understand what you mean. So
Yeah.
Michelle, and it goes with your hand being raised.
As you can see on the screen, we have hello, just say hello as we have it in English, right?
Yeah.
Nancy mentioned vast majority of the population can speak English, at least to a certain level. So when you say hello, people easily understand you. But it is more endearing when you use any of these 3 words to introduce yourself or engage people. All right. Here we are going to talk about self-introduction. When you meet someone and you want to introduce yourself, tell the person what your name is, right? And so the first one that we use my name, so good morning. My name is Kwesi. If I meet you, good morning. My name is Kwesi. And in Twi, we say, Mema wachi, midin de Kwesi. Midin de Kwesi. So me here is mine. That's the first person. Name is Dean. So when you hear Dean, the person is talking about the name. Then the S is the day. So, but just taking the day out, it doesn't make sense with the S. But in that context, Midin Kwesi. My name is Kwesi. But with greeting being a key component of our culture, we always find a way to throw it in there. So good morning. My name is Kwesi. Memawachi. Midin Kwesi. Can anyone try? I know it's a bit difficult, but can anyone try?
I have a question.
Okay.
So is it possible to say machi in like, or is there a big difference between the one on this?
No, marching, watching is the same.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I can try then.
Yeah.
Machi or memawo achi medindi forta.
Very good. That's
That's
impressive.
nice.
Yeah. You got it better than when I was a kid and I was learning it. Like your learning curve will be far better than mine. Okay.
And it's impressive that you picked up on the different ways of saying good morning, right? So we had said marching versus mimawachi. And so either is fine, like you said, but that's really nice. You're already picking it.
Yeah. Okay. Can anyone else try?
We try the other ones, right?
Okay, now
Good afternoon and evening.
the same trend. Good afternoon. My name is Kwesi. So Memawaha or Maha Midinde. Then you add the name. Can anyone try that? Maha Midinde.
Maha Medinde Quadro.
Very
Oh,
good.
that's a Monday.
Ojo. Ojo. Good. In Ghana, we have a famous musician, one of our legends called Introductory. So that name is actually adored in the country as well. Yeah. All right. Thank you
I
very
think
much.
Carolina wanted to say something too, right?
No, no, no.
Oh,
I'm
no,
just
okay.
watching. No, sorry. Sorry, I'm just watching.
All right.
Okay. I saw your mic, go up, so I thought, yeah, okay.
Now we
Good.
move on to the evening. Evening. So Majo or Memawajo Midinde Kwesi. Can anyone try that? Majo Midinde. Majo.
Bemajo, medinde apena.
Majo
Oh.
Midinde Abene. Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
impressive. Abena. That's my mom's name. She was also Tuesday born. All right. Majo Midinde Abena. Now, greetings generally. Michiao Midinde. As I mentioned, that word Michiao or Michiao is one of the most crucial ones you may need when you are in the country, right? That's something you can easily hear, and so you can also throw around to introduce yourself. Michiao Midinde Kwesi. Can anyone try that? Michiao. Michiao.
Michao Medinde Quadro.
Michiao Midinde Kwejo. Thank you, Fred. That's good. Then we have the final one. Hello, Midinde. You already know hello. So it's just a matter of remembering Midinde. Then you add the name.
Mhm.
All right. So can someone try that?
Hello, Medinde, Hillary James.
Okay. Could you use your local name? Then now we want to live here at least with that. At least let's know the day. Soul name, sort of. Yeah.
So he's a
Hello, Medinde Kofi.
coffee.
Oh, hello, Midindi Kofi. Kofi. Good.
Kofi, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We skip the video. Now,
Sorry, before Jamal, well, I guess Kwesi.
okay.
Can you explain us this letter, this like E letter, this kind of strange rounded E,
Yeah.
like in hello? Can you explain that to us, please?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
I
that's
think you have a slide for that. Maybe you can go
yeah.
to that slide whilst you talk about it.
Yeah, that's something we're going to.
Okay, fine. We can wait then. That's fine. No problem. That's
No
fine.
problem. I'll just talk about it. So in the Ghanaian, in tree, we have 22 letters, right? Out of the 22, we have 15 consonants and 7 vowels. Now, when you look at the vowels, 5 of them are the same in English, besides the two alphabets that you picked on. So I will show that here. All right. So the first one, the turned three, that is right? Usually we don't want to combine alphabets to make the vowel sounds. So other alphabets were added. So in English, you may use UR or something for or sometimes OR. In tree, a specific letter is for that. So for example, if you want to say Enra, sound comes in there. Then the other one, the turned C, that is O. So if you want to say something, Ochina, that is tomorrow, right? The O sound is for this. So these are probably the only clear difference when it comes to the vowel sounds between English and Twi, right? So you have a lot of information that we'll be giving you in the slides. So we send the materials on Canvas. So for the sake of time, this is where I would want us to leave it. But if you have any questions, we can ask, at least on what we have done. But there are a lot of information that we'll be giving you. And whenever there is the need for any clarification, you can always reach out to us via mail, and then we can talk about those things. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jamal. So Jamal prepared extensively for this. When you get the manual, you see that very extensive tutorials that Nancy prepared, and then Jamal built on that, created this set of slides, about 30 slides. But we thought, since this is our meeting workshop, we want to leave some room for Q&A. And so forgive us if we cutting this part too short. Hopefully you do remember your name. You know how to introduce yourself. You know how to greet. Those will be crucial ones. There are a lot of helpful videos in this particular slide deck that we strongly encourage that you just spend some time to go through them. You will love them. We spend a lot of time figuring out which one is appropriate and most useful. And so those would certainly be the ones you want to watch. But can we spend a little bit of time to get feedback from you? Our understanding is that this will be offered again, and hopefully if there's interest, we had about 14 to 15 people sign up. Certainly today's attendance is small, but today the workshop alone, it's not probably ideal, but we want feedback. It could range from when should we offer this, how long, which part was most helpful, what kind of materials would be useful, should we re-envision this all over again. Whatever feedback you have, we will take it, because we had no starting point. This is just our starting point, and so we certainly want to build on this. So we'll leave some time to get the feedback, and then we will wrap up with next steps.
I think Ashu has a question. If David, you can talk about that.
Remind us where are the slides again? Okay, was the link? Well, okay, we will send you the slides in an email. The manual will take probably a week or so to tighten it. But the Sakai site, you were invited. So if you check your email, you'll see that it might be a whole process to activate that. So we'll just send copies in an email, but we'll have the Sakai site up. I don't know for how long, but I think it'll be out for a while, so that as we get materials, we put there, you get notification and can engage with it probably for the entire year. So really is to get two materials, the slides and the manual, the 90-page manual. Let me ask this. So we've spent about 2.5 hours today. What would seem about right? 4 hours. So we had at the beginning, Ada said the Malawi one is now 4 hours in person. We don't know how that's going, but they started that a while back, and now they've moved to 4 hours. So I suspect it's better to expand the time. But would that make sense for you? Do you think you can commit 4 hours to a session like this?
I
Good.
think
Okay.
I'll go ahead and start. I think, well, as you know, David, there's this big UNC Malawi project, right? That's been running for 20 some years. So there are a lot of people and back and forth. And so that, I think I would say that they built up to 4 years or to 4 hours. So I don't think we should try and push the 4 hours right now. I think we should start slowly. That's my feeling, right? And we'll get there, but I don't think we need to push it. So I don't think you should be stressed about trying to make it 4 hours.
Sounds good.
Honestly, I would even say 2 hours, 2.5 is fine to start with. And then we generate interest, right? We generate interest and then we get, more, and then we can expand as we go along. I mean, 3 hours is fine. But even, I could see how 3 hours may also be intimidating for people, so you kind of have to balance it. So I was even thinking, and again, this is just all brainstorming. It's just ideas. Okay. So it's like, but thinking, okay, even you mentioned Saturday, people are busy. What if it had been 1.5 hours? Would we have gotten like many more people? You know what I'm saying? Even myself, I was fully committed to this, but then I was like, 3 hours. Can I do it on a Saturday? So that's just something to think about. Then moving to on the content side, again, just some ideas, right? I think something to think about is to bring in more contemporary Ghanaian culture, right? Like why do so I go to Ghana quite often for business, but why do I like to go? Really, why do I like to go? Because I want to see what's happening in Ghana, like today, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And that for me is like really, really interesting. And for people who would be going, like, we're trying to get students to go now. We're trying to do a thing with UG and have an exchange. So students need to know they need to know the history and that's important. But they also want to know about like the contemporary stuff, the music, the whatever, like so I think we should consider thinking about that, like talk about Black Sheriff, talk about Mr. I don't know, talk about Shatta Wale, whoever is I don't know. I'm not like I'm a 60-year-old guy, so it's not like I have my finger on the thing. But
you're pretty good. I mean, you're current.
But we need to. But I think that will at least get like maybe the students more, like the undergraduates and stuff, more interested, right? Because there's now a lot of contemporary African culture that's really influencing the United States, right? We see that. We didn't see that 20 years ago. It's really nice. So bringing that in and stuff, and so anyway, those are just some ideas, right?
Great.
To think about. Yeah, thank you.
This is good. This is really helpful. I think this is the kind of feedback we're looking for, so we appreciate it. And if there are additional ones that maybe you feel uncomfortable, sharing, I think Ada would also be available to share additional feedback. So just keep that in mind, everyone. But yeah, Fred.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with Ashu, is that like trying to keep it tight and let it grow organically to see kind of like how it will blossom. I do think that yeah, the contemporary stuff, I do think that there's a lot of like he mentioned, there's a lot of cross kind of pollination between like popular culture, hip hop, rap, all of that, but also I as a writer, as a poet and writer, like I'm interested in what are contemporary Ghanaians writing. I'm interested in, even though I may not be able to read it, I'm interested in what language movements are happening, what literary movements are happening in native languages there in Ghana. And then also, I'm also interested in art, visual art. I think the different, bringing in, trying to bring in some of the cultural stuff that's happening in the different disciplines, like, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has a curatorial program right now in the visual arts. It's one of the only ones in, it's one of the stronger ones, right? It's a young program, but it's one of the stronger programs in curatorial stuff. So just bringing in different disciplines that may be able to draw different people in and give them a way to enter Ghanaian culture, maybe through the visual arts or through the craft arts. Definitely textiles, like Africans created textiles, right? Like, so it's like and I mean, we did, Nancy had that great piece on Kente, like just talking about some of the textile stuff, because that's all over West Africa, right? Like in Mali, textile, like the cotton and bazin and all of that stuff in West Africa. So you could begin to kind of build interest around these other subject areas, I think, that will still be relevant to Ghana, but also be able to show some of the affinity across West Africa, I think.
Great, thank you, Fred. And you might want to check the chat, I think.
Yeah,
The
definitely. The
resources
library is one of my favorite places to keep up with. The first thing I'm going to do when I get to Ghana is go to the library there. Thank you for sharing that, Fawata.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll include these resources in our manuals as well. Yeah. So anyone else? And also just to let you know, so selfishly, I'm volunteering today. I'm leading a group at Habitat. We started at 1, so I promise as a leader I have to be there early. But so that's part of the reason why we're also trying to wrap up early. So forgive me if it feels rushed. But we can take maybe 1 or 2 more if there are additional comments or suggestions.
No, the only thing I have to say is that I do appreciate this opportunity to know more about Ghana and to learn with you. And it was really helpful for me because I will introduce many things that I saw here today in my curriculum. Because one of the things that I feel that we miss, wait a minute, my son is here, is that some scholars have difficulty to join or to talk about it in school with children. It's not so easy to join these contents here in Brazil. Okay, researchers and transform it in a schooler content. So this is my work. This is part of my research. And thanks, many thanks for this content. It was amazing for me. And I would like to have more opportunities to be with you.
Great, thank you. And also for all that you shared with this group. I had something else. Said that words with a B, with Portuguese, something like that. I'm going to look it up. But yeah, I've learned quite a bit from you too. Thank you. Anyone else? And Fatawa and Hillary, I think you've put some stuff in the chat that we'll take note of. For what time? Sorry. Good. No, okay. Well, for what time? Okay, sorry.
Oh no, yeah, I was just saying thank you for the session. I appreciated it a lot and learned a lot.
Well, thank you too. Appreciate you. So we will, like I said, we will have some follow-up stuff for you. Don't hold us to the time. We'll get it to you at some point.
Also, just to chime in, your lunch vouchers will be sent to you directly to your mail, so just look out for them. Yeah.
Yes, that's another fun part, right? You get a lunch voucher, so just look out for that. We'll send another email to let you know to look out for it once it's sent. But thank you all. I don't know if you can say Midas. I think Ashley already said it in the chat, but yeah, that's we're grateful for your feedback and your time. And this will be better next time. We'll build on this and continue have a fantastic engagement. Thank you all.